This may be the most anticipated Tuesday night in election 2016 so far, or at least since last Tuesday night and the one before. With contests in Florida, Illinois, Missouri, North Carolina, and Ohio, we'll soon learn whether Marco Rubio and John Kasich can take their home states and continue, or whether Ted Cruz is right and this is a two-man race, and if anyone can actually stop Donald Trump. On the Democratic side, it's Bernie Sanders' chance to shake things up yet again, or will Hillary Clinton tie things up before bedtime? Joining me to discuss actually none of that are Joan Venocchi, a Boston Globe columnist. Joan, it's good to see you. David Hopkins is a political scientist at BC and co-author of Presidential Elections, Strategies and Structures of American Politics. It's good to meet you. Can I start with you? Let's assume Trump runs the table tonight. Kasich loses Ohio and Rubio loses Florida, or even if not tonight, Trump clinches in the near future. The debate we're going to obsess on, is the Republican Party going to coalesce around him, or is there going to be internal warfare? Does your history give you any insight as to what's going to happen, or is this such an outlying election that we can't predict anything?
It's a pretty outlying election. There's no clear historical parallel in the modern era to an election quite like this. And the prospect of maybe a contested convention, of an attempt by the party leadership to sort of push back against Trump's candidacy. So it's hard to point to an easy historical parallel.
Do they coalesce? Or, I mean, I can't tell if this is a story that we're magnifying in the media or if it's real. They don't want Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders to be president of the United States, so they'll swallow hard and take Trump, won't they?
I think I agree with you, Jim, because in the end, if they think that he's a winner, they're going to stand behind him, and they'll just rationalize that winning is better than losing, and they'll stick with him.
Do you think the confrontations, Friday night being the centerpiece, but obviously there were more before and some after, did they hurt him? I mean, a lot of experts are speculating that with the constituency he's trying to mine, it actually helped them. Is that possible?
Everything I've predicted and opined about has turned out to be wrong.
Well, I'm in the same boat you are, so do it anyway. Go ahead.
They seem like it helps him.
Do you think it does?
It may help him get a few votes, but at the same time it risks the party leaders being more and more worried about the prospect of him getting a nomination and this continuing all the way through a general election.
But you know, the party leaders are acting like they're surprised. I mean, this is the guy who was the lead birther in America. What did they think they were getting? I mean,
not someone who's actually going to win the nomination.
Well, that's probably right. Okay, you wrote about this Romney thing, which I can't figure out at all. You said something like, it was too bad that he was with Donald Trump before he was against him. Do you have a decent explanation of why Romney is doing what he's doing, including, by the way, being in Ohio the day before the election with Kasich yesterday, but not even endorsing his candidacy?
Well, I read a very long interview with him in the Boston Globe,
yes,
in which he said that he felt that he had to do the right thing and this was the right thing to do. But it just didn't make, at the very least, in that speech, he should have acknowledged the endorsement and the fact that he sought the endorsement from Trump in 2012 and appeared with him and accepted it and was thrilled with it. And at least that would have given him some credibility. But it just looked like another Romney flip-flop.
Well, beyond the Romney flip-flop, doesn't it feel, considering who the key Trump constituency is, it's almost like Trump would pay Romney to say, come out and trash me if you would. Right. That's just going to cause my angry anti-establishment people to love me even more, no?
He looked as establishment as it gets, standing up there, giving that speech, everything Trump is not, kind of wooden and scripted. And there's Donald Trump, waving and trumping along.
And selling steaks that aren't even his.
Right.
There's no historical precedent for this, right? I mean, the Romney thing, the prior nominee of the party trashing, and who accepted the Trump endorsement, trashing the current likely nominee, right?
Well, I defer to you, the historian, but his father did do something similar, right?
What did his father do that was similar?
Well, his father ran in 1968 and was trying to, sort of under the old system run for president, but this is, we have had a new system since then where the primaries and caucuses actually select the delegates. And the problem that the anti-Trump forces have sort of faced is that not only do they not like Trump, but really most of them don't like Ted Cruz either, and he's the second place guy. So they're sort of left with no real horse of their own. They're left saying, stop Trump, but we don't really like Cruz either. Let's hope to kick it to a convention and figure it out then. And I'm not sure that that's going to work. That's a high-risk play they're making.
Let's go to the Democratic side for a minute. Even if Bernie Sanders continues the Michigan thing and ekes out a victory, let's say in Ohio or Missouri, Hillary Clinton is still crushing him with delegates because of the superdelegates. What does he achieve tonight, even if it's a great night for him, John Venaki?
Well, first of all, he stays in the race. That seems clear. I mean, he's staying all the way to the convention.
Well, he's staying anyway. He's got a ton of dough.
Right.
I mean, he's not going
And
anywhere.
he's making it harder for her. He really is. I mean, even though people keep on talking about the math of it and the numbers and that there's no way that she can not be the nominee, he's making her look sort of tired. Is making, I think he just makes it harder for her all the way around.
You know, one of the ways he's made it harder is in this whole trade thing. I want to play you a clip from Thursday night from Trump and last night from Bernie Sanders. Both of these guys talking about an issue that they've been campaigning on that may be trouble in the primaries and then in the final potentially for Hillary Clinton. Here it is.
Our country and our trade and our deals and most importantly, our jobs are going to hell.
It is part of disastrous trade policies.
We will start building those factories and those plants. Instead of in China, we'll build them here. And people will buy product from here rather than buying it through China, where we're being ripped off. And we have a $505 billion trade deficit right now.
It is not only the loss of millions of jobs because of NAFTA and PNTR with China, where companies are searching for cheap labor around the world. You do not have to drive wages down or throw American workers out on the street.
You could put Trump's words in Sanders' mouth and Sanders' words in Trump's mouth, and they wouldn't miss a beat.
Except that Trump is wearing a shirt and tie made in Mexico or China or somewhere that he's railing against.
Yeah, but Rubio has mentioned that 4,000 times. How has that hurt Donald Trump?
Well, it should, and that's kind of the frustrating part of it, I guess.
Yeah, how about this trade? It seems to me to be a potential albatross. Now, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, it was the gold standard once when she worked for Barack Obama, and now she opposes it. As a candidate against Obama, she was against the trade deal with South Korea. She becomes Secretary of State. All of a sudden, she embraces the trade deal. This seems to be, just as it was the economy stupid for Bill Clinton, it seems to be its trade policy stupid for Trump and Sanders, no?
It's part of the story, I think, for both of them, but I think it's part of a larger attack on, the sort of the status quo in politics, and it's expressing a larger anger that a lot of voters on both the left and the right have felt with the kind of gridlocked politics we've been having and the sort of the lack of economic growth and economic equality in the country. So it's a specific issue that I think has a lot of larger ramifications and larger symbolic meaning.
When you wrote your piece recently is Clinton, the headline, I know you don't write the headlines, Clinton ready for the onslaught from Trump. Is this part of the onslaught, or you just mean the vitriol, the personal attacks? What did you mean there? What was the answer? Is she ready?
Well,
assuming they are the nominees?
Trump keeps on saying he's only started, or he hasn't even started in. So I think what lies ahead will get even more personal. And in the style, I don't think he'll hold back against Hillary any more than he held back against Rubio or Cruz or any of his other rivals. I think he will bring the same thing to the table with her. But to get just back to trade for a minute,
Sure.
I mean, what if it turns out, it's Hillary versus Trump? Who's the bigger hypocrite on trade? I don't know why he gets a pass and she doesn't.
Where in this campaign so far has his hypocrisy hurt him with one voter, as far as you can tell?
It hasn't.
There are different rules, are there not?
I guess there are different rules, but we'll see in a general if that still holds.
Before we go very quickly here, I want to pop up some numbers. We gave recent numbers. These are the latest. Of the 22 candidates, I think, who started this thing, David, the two with the highest unfavorables are the two people who are leading their races. 62% unfavorable Trump, 54% Clinton. Can you give me a quick explanation of how it ended up this way?
Well, on the Republican side, Trump has the most first choice voters, and he also has the most people who dislike him. So he's such a polarizing figure, but in a multi-candidate race, that actually has worked to his advantage.
Okay, but how about Clinton?
With Clinton, I mean, I think one of the reasons that Sanders is doing better than expected is that there is a certain lack of enthusiasm for Clinton among Democrats. But these numbers, these broader numbers, also reflect the fact that a lot of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents don't like her either.
We got to go. Joan, it's a pleasure. Nice to see you. David, it's nice to meet you. Thank you so much.